In today's video, I'm getting aggro with some mono black skeletons in standard. Alright, so I am finally back on mono black, and boy am I glad to be here. This deck is super fun to play and it is incredibly powerful and fast. Now skeletons in standard are a little bit lacking because there just aren't enough of them. However, the ones that are available in standard are surprisingly powerful, and this deck has a lot of power output. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the deck. We'll jump into some games as usual. To start off, I suppose we should talk about the skeletons, and we'll talk about the one that makes this deck the most powerful and the reason to play this deck, and that is Corpses of the Lost. Let's move it over here. Corpses of the Lost says, skeletons you control get +1/+0 and have haste. That haste part is the important thing because we can really slam our opponents down kind of out of nowhere once this is on the battlefield. Then it says, when this enchantment enters, create a 2/2 black skeleton pirate creature token. Then at the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, you may pay 1 life. If you do, return this enchantment to its owner's hand. What is descend? Well, descend is whenever a permanent card is put into the graveyard from anywhere, and we have to do that, of course, on our turn because this says at the beginning of our end step, and that's it. So if something goes into the graveyard, a permanent goes into the graveyard either from our hand or from the field, well, then we can descend, return this back to our hand, and we can play it out on following turns. The next skeleton that is in the deck is the one that I actually had the hardest time crafting. I didn't have this one in my collection, but I finally pulled the trigger, and I'm pretty glad I did. This is Case of the Stash Skeleton, an enchantment case. When it enters, it's going to create a 2/1 skeleton with Suspect. Suspect means that it has menace and it can't block. Then it has like an extra little thing on here. When we solve this case, meaning we don't have any suspected skeletons on the field, well then we can sacrifice the case, search our library for any card, put it in our hand, and that's it. Now we do have to pay 2 mana to do this, and it's only at sorcery speed, but it can be a pretty powerful effect if your game is going a little bit later. Next up, probably one of the best skeletons in the deck, and it doesn't seem like it, but it is a very powerful skeleton, and it's usually the card, or at least one of the 2 cards that we want to see on turn 1. It is the Forsaken Miner, a 2/2 for 1. It can't block. However, it is a skeleton, so it's going to grow with our Corpses of the Lost. And then, well, if we commit a crime, meaning that we target our opponent or anything that they control, we can pay 1 and return the Forsaken Miner from the graveyard into or onto the battlefield. Very powerful card. It's going to be an all-star in these games. So those are the 3 core skeletons. We have one more skeleton in the form of Tiny Bones, the Pickpocket. It's just a 1/1 with Death Touch, but it's in here because it is a skeleton. It's not too bad on turn 1. It has Death Touch, which is really great for attacking in. A lot of people don't want to block it, and it can grow with our Corpses of the Lost. The other cards in the deck are just the mono black all-stars that you would assume to see in a deck like this. We have Cecil, really fantastic on turn 1. This is the other card you want to see on turn 1. We have the new Timeline Color. This card is just annoying. It does so much for us in this deck. It just keeps attacking the opponent and coming back, and they just can't deal with it a lot of the time. And then we have Sunset Saboteur, 4 copies of this. It's a 4/1 with Menace. It does have the downside of having to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature that our opponent controls when it attacks. However, maybe that doesn't matter because we are playing a lot of removal in the deck. And then we are playing 4 copies of Dark Confidant to refill our hand. Gives us a lot of extra card draw if it survives on the field. The rest of the deck is made up of removal. We have 3 copies of Final Vengeance, we have 2 copies of Tragic Trajectory, and now 2 copies of Feed the Swarm. This is the newest addition to the deck, and the reason I'm playing this is because it destroys an enchantment, and that's because the one card that hoses this deck is Authority of the Consuls. If this card comes out from the opponent, man, it makes our haste creatures really bad. It makes our Timeline Color especially bad. So I decided to throw in a couple of Feed the Swarms. We are dealing a lot of damage to ourselves with this deck. We're just going to keep dealing more damage to ourselves with Feed the Swarm. The last card to mention that is in the deck is the Corrupted Conviction. It gives us a little bit of draw, and it allows us to activate Descend. It gives us something to do with our Timeline Color. It does a whole lot of stuff. So drawing 2 cards, always powerful. It's a great card. 20 swamps over here. And the last thing that I'm going to mention is the absence of Arch Enemy's Charm. Originally, this was in the deck as a 2-of. I've since moved on to the Feed the Swarm. Arch Enemy Charm is very good. It's very powerful, but I was finding I was only using it for the exile target creature or planeswalker ability. So why not throw in Feed the Swarm? It's 1 mana cheaper. It has a less stringent cost, which doesn't matter in this deck, but it is what it is. And this can kill enchantments, whereas this can't. So that's where I am with the deck. It's pretty fun. We're going to hop into some games and see how it performs and hopefully run over some of our opponents. See you over there. Okie dokie, game number 1, seeing how the skeleton aggro can get on, and well, that's not going to work out. Now, the deck is playing only 20 swamps, so it is a little bit of a greedy mana base, I fully admitted. We get a nice friendly hello from our opponent. I think we have to throw away... Do I keep maybe a little bit of removal and throw away the Corpse of the Lost instead of... Yeah, maybe. And just hope that I can ride this Cecil all the way in. Gonna be a little bit of a rough one. All right, nice game 1 to start off things. Let's hope the opponent stumbles. Yeah. Anyways, haven't said this for a long time. I guess I've been a little negligent in my pitching, but we're up to 830 subscribers. Welcome to all the new people. It's nice to have you around. Comments are pretty good as usual, so I appreciate all of that. If you can keep helping me grow, subscribe button is right down there, and yeah, let's try to get that 1,000 before we know it. That's the idea, right? Also, there is the Discord. If you want to join up on the Discord, we've been having a pretty good time over there. I think this is safe to attack in like this. This is fine. Put a +1/+1 counter on the rabbit, but we'll get in for at least 4. They might throw that poor little rabbit in front of Cecil. However, maybe they want to save it for the Sunset Saboteur to keep building up. They do. So I think we don't need to do it too hastily. So I'm going to just hold the Tragic Trajectory for now. I think it's fine. They're probably not going to be able to build it up, and I might regret that, because if I end up drawing a Corpses of the Lost, I would probably want to play that out now. Maybe I should have just nuked that rabbit. It's okay. We'll find out. We'll see what happens. So this deck, I have been enjoying it, and when I originally put it together, the idea behind this, I was going to come into the video and be like, the season's almost done. We got like 4 days left for the season. This is the deck that I'm going to climb to Mythic with, starting from the next restart. And yeah, maybe. I still haven't decided if I want to play this deck all the way through or not, but it is a possibility. Okay, well, we draw a land, so not a big deal. Let's get rid of, I guess we get rid of the rabbit, and we're gonna make this bird awfully big, but that's fine. And yeah, so I might end up climbing with this deck, because I think it is a pretty cool one, it's pretty fun, and it does just kind of churn through games very quickly. But then I went and I looked at my stats on Untapped, and I realized that actually on Untapped, I play against the... Oh no, they have a board wipe. I play against Mono Black a fair amount, and actually it's one of the decks that I have the best win rate against this season. It's something like 74% win rate over, I don't know, 25 games or 30 games, something like this. And it kind of makes me pause and wonder, why am I doing so well against this mono black deck? Is it really the best deck to be playing going forward into the next season, or is it kind of just like a bad deck? That's the question. All right, the opponent cracking. Oh, that's cool. So they're gonna stay alive at 1 life unless I can find. I don't know what I can find. They missed their 3rd or 4th land. Maybe they're sitting on, oh, you know what would have been great is a haste creature. So now I'm at a spot where I don't know if I want to put down the Dark Confidant because they might have a board wipe. They missed the 4th land. Maybe they're sitting on some kind of wipe. If they have a split up, the Dark Confidant lives. But if they have a Day of Judgment, I'm a really sad boy. I think I'm just going to sit on the Swamp and on the Dark Confidant, make them have it, And we'll see if it works. Oh, it's a tap land. Okay, not split up. Okay. Yes. Oh, mull to 5, and we beat a mono Orzhov tokens control deck, I guess. It was, for some reason, Orzhov. I don't know what they would be running with the black, but that's a good first game. Okay, good. Game number 2 against Benny Dangles. I like that name. We get to go first, but again, we are with that one land. Okay, opening hand looks fine. Let's throw away one of the swamps. We'll probably be able to find a few more lands with these Dark Confidants, assuming that they survive. And we'll go from there. This video, I believe, is going to be coming out on Saturday. I have it queued up for Saturday. And, oh, that would have been nice on turn 1. The video that I put out on Thursday, my time, Thursday, would have been the user deck. I played one of the people in our Discord recommended a deck, and I tried that deck out. Ooh, okay, yeah, let's throw down this. Sorry, I'm gonna get distracted. I always like putting down the Corpse of the Lost first before putting out Case and the Miner. If you can get this on the field, then you can, of course, surprise your opponent with suddenly 6 damage out of nowhere, and it's gonna be massive amounts of damage. Okay. Wow, we are... Land. Oh, oh my god. Anyways, the last video that I put out was, in fact, the user deck, and it was a whole lot of fun to play. I'm really curious what people think about that video. Any feedback for that one would be really great. And if you leave it on this video or on the other video itself. But yeah, what did you think about that format? The deck... I think we ended up going 2-7 in the end, or two wins, 5 losses. So, 2-5. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Not 2-7. 2 out of 7 games we won, and it was fun. But it was experimental. Wow, we ran over Benny Dangles playing Vivi. You know, you don't need to ban Vivi. Apparently, we have to ban Corpses of the Lost, a much more powerful card than this little cute black mage. That last game was so fast that I didn't even really get my thoughts across to you all. You know, I was going to talk about... wow. I was going to talk about that video, and then, well, whatever. It is what it is. And keep in mind, that was on a mull to 6, right? Yeah. 2 games. Okay, we get to play... we're playing first 3 games in a row. That's pretty sweet. Let's not focus too much on that. Let's get in on the Leonin Vanguard. We're up against Lifelink, probably one of the harder matchups, but we'll see how that goes. We'll throw out the Sunset Saboteur. They're probably really good at blocking this one, and we get to load up their creatures with +1/+1 counters. Not really what I want to be doing. We'll see, though. Okay, there's the Pride Mate. So they can't grow it this turn. That's pretty good for us. So how do I play this one? If I attack with both, I put the +1/+1 counter on the Leonin Vanguard. I don't think they block anything. Okay, let's try this. And then I think what I'm going to try to do is Final Vengeance something. Maybe I won't Final Vengeance something. I was thinking about doing it. Yeah, I didn't think they would block. The Ajani can get pretty big here. But... yeah, you know what? I should have put this out. That was a misplay. I think it was just better to have this on the field instead of that. So the other option is Final Vengeancing the Ajani's Pride Mate and getting back the Forsaken Miner, but I'm wasting 1 mana. Okay, we'll put it out. It's a blocker. This skeleton is going out as a blocker and not 3 damage like it would have or should have been. Okay, focus up. No more talking about whatever. I don't even know what I was talking about a minute ago. Okay, Hinterland Sanctifier, very good for the opponent. They're going to gain a little bit of life. Another Leonin Vanguard gaining 3 life now. Do they have another 1-drop? They do. Vesri. Okay, so they've built their wide board. I wonder if they're going to be brave enough to attack in with the Ajani. Yeah, they do. They do. They get frisky. Well, no blocks on the Ajani. And they're up to 16 life. I mean, we're in trouble now, right? Because what do I really do here? I suppose I just slam in. Let's throw out the case of the Stash Skeleton as well. and we're just gonna go ham. We're gonna put the +1/+1 on the Leonin Vanguard, I suppose, and I think the Ajani is gonna have to die this turn. Wow, they just take all that damage. Am I dead? Okay, so the Forsaken Miner is gonna come back, but the Forsaken Miner can't actually block anything, so they are gonna have quite a bit of damage. Do I want to take this? So 3, 6, 9. They'll have 9 damage. I'll bring back the Corpse of the Lost. It'll be a good thing to play out next turn. And we're gonna be swinging in pretty hard. The thing is, they're just gonna gain a ton of life. There's another 2 life. Patchwork Banner is a weird card choice. They're gonna make cats the choice. Okay. I mean, I don't hate this. Up to 6. I don't think they can up to 8. I don't think they can attack though. Okay, opponent also decides that they can't attack. The Corrupted Conviction is going to be pretty good. So let's slam this, and I think I'm just going to town. Everything's going to take, like, whatever it blocks is going to take it out. We'll put this on... I guess we'll put it on the Basri. I don't think I really care. We'll see how the blocks end up coming out. They got to put 2 cards in front of the Sunset Saboteur. They can let 2 things through though. They can let the Sunset Saboteur and one of these skeletons hit them, take them down to 1. So then they're gonna have to block at least 3. They'll lose 3 creatures. I kind of want to play this Corrupted Conviction. Maybe I'll do it on their end step just to draw a couple of cards. If we can hit some more skeletons, they're gonna come in with haste because of the Corpse of the Lost. They're down to 2 cards in hand. I like this theme though that the opponent's playing. I really like this card, Patchwork Banner, giving +1/+1 to the chosen creature type, and then you can add some mana of any color. It's a little expensive for 3 CMC, but if you're playing out a whole bunch of 1 and 2 CMC creatures, yeah, it's a pretty cool turn 3 play. But do you really need it? Like, the thing is, you're building up Essence Channel, or you're building up a Johnny's Pridemate. Do you really need that extra +1/+1 and that mana? I don't know. They opt to get rid of the Sunset Saboteur, which, okay, I can get behind that. Okay, they're going down to 6. They're losing Basri, they're losing the Sanctifier, and they're losing one of the Vanguards. Let's do that. This is actually pretty cool. They're killing the 1 creature that is going to return my Corpse of the Lost. So, Corpse of the Lost does not trigger on token death. Tokens... I don't know, that's a weird one. They hit the graveyard, but I guess technically they don't trigger Descend for whatever reason it is. Okay. So this is pretty good for the opponent. They're staying alive, gaining up to 4 life. And they also get that food. They're going to gain another creature. So lots of things going on for the opponent. Do I want to use the Conviction? Probably not. I had thought about it, but... no, I think I just keep applying pressure, keep slamming in. Okay. Probably the Dark Confidant's coming down this turn then. So they killed the Saboteur. The Saboteur actually went into the graveyard. That triggered the Descent and allowed me to return this at the end step. So, yeah, a little bit happy. They either needed to kill the Forsaken Miner or the Saboteur for that to happen. None of these tokens would trigger that. So we are attacking, and they can let 1 through, which I think is not such a bad plan for them, and they are not blocking the Forsaken Miner this time. Okay, the opponent does block the Forsaken Miner. I don't know about that play. Maybe they're... it's fine. They're down to 1. We're going to return the Corpse of the Lost, and I think we just play out this Dark Confidant. We're going to be drawing 2 cards next turn. We have the Corpse of the Lost to also slam down, 5 mana to do something with, and they're on 1 card. They whiff on the card, but they can make a cat. Wow, this game, okay. This is fun. They're just hanging on. Also, attacking with this Dark Confidant this turn's going to be weird. I really want to hit a removal spell would be good, or a skeleton would be good. Okay. So we play the Corpse of the Lost. We play the Case of the Stashed Skeleton. and we just keep applying the pressure. They can block with the Leonin Vanguard onto the Dark Confidant, but they're going to be losing their Cat Collector, they're going to lose their token, and they're going to give us the Corpse of the Lost back. This thing just bouncing back to your hand every single time. If you can get creatures on the field or things on the field, even you trigger it, you can sacrifice things with, like, for example, Corrupted Conviction, which I think this turn, why not cast the Corrupted Conviction on the Dark Confidant? It's going to die anyways. What do I need to deal 2 damage to the Leonin Vanguard for? Okay, opponent go. Did they? I don't know. I don't know. I think we were still in a good position to probably win this game. We were going to wipe out most of their board. They were only going to draw 1 card this turn. They were going down to probably 2 life, I think it was. So probably we were in a position to be able to win this one in the end, even though something weird happened with them not blocking. So that's cool. That's 3-0? 3-0? Okay, we've been super lucky on the play 3 times in a row, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's 3 games, 3 wins, on the play again. But we don't have a turn 1. Not having a turn 1 play really hinders this deck. I'm going to try this, though, because the turn 2 plays are so good. I think we can maybe make something happen. We are against everybody's favorite. It is Vivi, the Marauding Mako only deck that plays this card. They're going to be putting +1/+1 counters on it and trying to do stuff with the Agathas. Unfortunately, Feed the Swarm not hitting Agatha's Soul Cauldron. It does hit Prof's Eidetic Memory, though, and honestly, I think I'm okay with that. I don't know, maybe let me know if you think that was a mistake or not. And I also think probably this is the play now. I'm going to get rid of it. I don't want that on the field. Eidetic Memory just does so much for them. If they get something out and they're like if they played a Tursa. If they play this Tursa, suddenly this thing gets very powerful, very big, fast. They put an Agatha's into the graveyard, but we are down to 15 already, taking quite a bit of damage. Sunset Saboteur into the Dark Confidant is probably going to be fine. This one might be a little bit sketch. We didn't get off to that good hop, and they had pretty good plays 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Another Soul Cauldron into the bin from the opponent, so maybe they're sitting on a 3rd one. Oh boy, there's the 3rd one. Transparent opponents. They get their Sunset Saboteur of their own, and the fear of missing out is now growing, so this is looking bad. They don't have any VV in the graveyard yet, but you got to imagine that is a thing that's going to be happening very soon. We get... Okay. So let's attack... Attacking with the Sunset Saboteur kind of sucks here, but we're going to put the +1/+1 counter on Tursa, just making the opponent's plays better. The Sunset Saboteur definitely plays into the opponent's game plan a little bit too well. I really want to block here, though. If they block, which I don't think they're going to block, but I would love a block, then we can tragically traject the other creature that doesn't block. They're thinking hard about this one. I think you 100% let this Sunset Saboteur through. Who cares about 4 damage? Yeah, okay. So, that's what they do. Now, I think what I need to do on turn 2, or second main phase, is put out that. Let's draw a couple of cards from this skeleton that's going to give us this ability here. And then we will get rid of the fear of missing out. I think the fear of missing out is just a little bit too powerful. And we'll follow it up with the Cecil. So we need Dark Confidant to be drawing us some heat. We need the opponent to kind of stumble a little bit. And we do have the case of the Stash Skeleton. I can sacrifice this and go get maybe... whatever the lost thing. I'm forgetting the name. The other enchantment. Names are hard. As always. Are you like me? Do you just forget every single card name possible? Because I swear my mind is just like a blank slate. So now they're doing the thing. They had the Steam Core Scholar. Now they're going to get the VV. The Tursa is going to produce 4 mana, and the opponent's doing the cool thing. Actually, they're going to do even more mana. They are up to 7 mana on this turn out of nowhere. Okay, Can we get rid of this trash? Okay, look, it's just not fun. Let Vivi live. Vivi's cool. You know what? If Vivi wants to be in the format, pinging people, getting big, producing mana by himself, that's cool. What's not cool is this interaction, right? This is what we want to get rid of. All right, let's see how long this opponent's turn takes. The last opponent that had a VV turn like this, they went for 3 minutes, 40 seconds, I do believe. I don't know if I'll do the timer for this one, but we'll see. All right. Well, we met our match, I think. Here, woo, they're going harder. They haven't gone to combat yet, so they're actually going to get Prof's eidetic memory trigger. They're going to be able to put counters probably on the fear of missing out. And then that will eight counters out of nowhere. They've cycled through 7 cards, right? I guess their first draw. No, it is 8 cards because it's -1. Their first draw doesn't count. Cool. They hit me for 4. It's just such, you know, it feels like my opponent just took like 4 turns. They just did like time walk times 4. That's why it feels so bad, because the game was kind of like a little bit back and forth, and then it's almost like I fell asleep for a little bit and I just passed my turn, and then you wake up and you're like, oh, they have a 10-10 and a 5-5. Where did all this come from? But there was no coma. It just happened. All right, we're not gonna let the VV game get us down. We're gonna keep going. Cyan Fire, it's okay. We faced 2 VVs so far. We're not gonna face another one. It's impossible to face 3 out of 5. Okay, instead we're going against Landfall. So turn 1 Timeline Color is a fine turn 1 play. You get in for damage. I prefer Cecil or the Forsaken Miner over the Timeline Color, but you play what you have, right? I think I'm okay going out with Dark Confidant over the case of the Stash Skeleton. If we can hit the 3 CMC enchantment, that's going to be better. What is the opponent doing? The opponent is on Landfall, but they don't have a turn 1, 2, or 3 play. That's crazy to me. Crazy. Okay, so we get in for 2 damage. Why not? Let's play out our Cecil. Let's play out the Stash Skeleton. And then, yeah, I guess that's where we're at. If they play out a Hydra on turn 3, hopefully they don't have a land drop. They do have a land drop, so they can protect it. Final Vengeance, maybe not going to work out for us. You know what? Tragic Trajectory and Final Vengeance being sorcery speed kind of makes things a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit awkward, but I think we still take this opportunity to try to kill the Hydra. I kind of feel like they don't have it. They don't. And then why not put out the Timeline Color and get in for a cool 6 damage. Now, one thing I haven't really talked about is Cecil. Cecil, when we get down on life, is going to flip. We need to get down to 10. The deck does a lot of damage to itself. The Timeline Color's pinging us for 2 damage. The 3 CMC enchantment deals 1 damage to us when we return it to our hand. The Feed the Swarm is going to deal damage to us when we murder something. So there's a lot of things that reduce our health. We are kind of playing a little bit dangerously with our health, but it is a cool thing when you can flip Cecil. That Landfall deck, unfortunately, horrible draw, and good for us. Keep on moving. Game number 6. We're 4-1. And so far the deck is performing. We get to go first though. Man, this best of 1 stuff when you get to go first, isn't it cool? Corpses of the Lost is the name of the card that I kept forgetting. I knew it was the Lost, but I could not remember that first. Look at the card art on this. The one thing I love about playing Skeletons is just how metal, how rad all of the card art from the Skeletons are. So we're playing against Sephiroth now, I guess. This is the Link Breaker. They're making baby here. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, that card art is cool. That is super awesome. I hope I can find a high resolution image of this one, because that's cool. This is also cool. Case of the Stash Skeleton. I don't know what's going on here. Baby Jace, Toy Jace down here in the corner. I don't know if you've noticed that, but that is really neat. We don't hit our third land, so that is a little unfortunate. We'll put a +1/+1 counter on this guy. We'll see how they block. If they double block, we'll take out the Voice of Victory. They do double. They don't double block. They think about double blocking. No, opponent, don't do that. Don't do that. So hey, you want to learn there are a lot of new players that are watching my content. You want to know what Death Touch does? Death Touch kills any creature that it touches. So you only have to assign lethal damage. We're going to assign 1 damage to the Mercenary, 1 damage to the Voice of Victory, and my opponent. That's a unfortunate situation. Yeah, let's get out with the Forsaken Miner and a second Cecil. Yeah, they had to know that. Maybe they were just so afraid of the Cecil that they thought they had to get it off the field. But that to me is a little bit wild. They have the follow-up, Voice of Victory into the Snarling Gorehound, and we hit our land, so now we can go out with the Corpse of the Lost and start slamming. Okay, we'll put this on the Gorehound. I don't think they're blocking this time. This is some block. Now, you know what? Suddenly you start to realize what's going on, and you're the fool. Because what's happening here... Yeah, we'll return it. What's happening here is the opponent probably has Raise the Dead, or Raise the Past. And they were probably trying to get up to 4 mana so that they could bring back their graveyard. Maybe that's what it was, but they decided either this was a bad draw or... I don't know, they were just done with it. These games have just flown by so quickly. I've actually just had to do like a little bit of a count. Like, hang on, okay, we won 3 games in a row, then we lost to VV, Landfall, whatever the opponent was doing, I think Sephiroth. Oh, okay, 6 games. Maybe we're against another Landfall deck. I like going out with a Miner. It's repetitive damage if they don't have a turn 2 blocker over the color. The color does... Ooh, okay. We are against the control deck this time. Now, control deck, no more lies. No more lies. Hey, when you call it every single time, everybody's transparent. I can see everything. No more lies, pretty good Magic card. Really good Magic card, in fact. Exiles our poor timeline color, so that's a thing. Do they have 3 steps ahead? No more lies again. Okay, well, you can't call them all. Too bad. That's my version of Sweet Phil's It's a Stone of Jordan. It's funny for somebody. It's funny for me, at the very least. Okay, well, yeah, just keep trying to fight through the counter spells. This time, 3 steps ahead. Consult the star charts. They're digging for a third No More Lies. Surely the third No More Lies is in the top 12 cards of their library. No, it would be top 14 cards. It's not. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, let's get frisky. Get in for 6. And now our skeletons are hasty. They're all online. Demolition Field not doing much for the opponent in this matchup, and they're stocking up. Okay, that's a desperation play. I don't know what I want to see off the top of the library. Maybe a way of drawing cards. This is dead. Feed the Swarm, maybe not so bad if they end up finding Authority of the Consuls. Very possible. Seam Rip. Okay, hit the Forsaken. No. Yeah, they hit the Forsaken Miner. Well, that's why we play Feed the Swarm. At the very least, we get it back. We can get in for another 6 damage. And putting the pressure on the opponent, we have a second Feed the Swarm if they end up having another Seam Rip. So maybe we can make something happen. Fountain Port is a really good draw for them. Okay. Unfortunately, Corpse of the Lost doesn't activate on our opponent's turn. So we're going to get in for 2 with our Tiny Bones. And I don't want to play the Seam Rip. No, thank you, decline. Okay, but that's really cool. So I'll be perfectly honest. Did not know this was an interaction. Tiny Bones targets something in the opponent's graveyard, targets a non-land permanent card, very important, and that is going to trigger the Forsaken Miner. Whew. Okay. Opponent digging into their deck for just 2 mana. They're getting 1 card. They're trying to find maybe another Wrath of God, not Wrath of God, Day of Judgment. I call it Wrath of God. Any 4 CMC board wipe is just Wrath of God to me. Just like any artifact artifact token is a construct from the last video. We take down the control deck. We put just enough pressure on the opponent. They definitely countered a good amount of our stuff, but yeah, they couldn't keep up with the pressure of these hasty skeletons. And I'm really glad I had the Feed the Swarm. I think it's just a really good card to include. I think the downside of losing life is not such a detriment. And being able to get rid of an Authority of the Consuls if they had it, or in this case, the Seam Rip, absolutely crucial. All right, not a whole lot to say about the Skeleton aggro deck. We went on an absolute tear in that best of 1 run, 7 games, 6 wins, only dropping to VV doing VV stuff, but we did get 1 VV, so if they have a slow start, it is possible to roll over them. However, VV, when they do their thing, who's going to stop it? It is the best deck in the game currently in Standard, so it is what it is. I love the makeup of this deck right now. There are a few things that I'm kind of mulling over, and that's what I want to talk about right now. I think the one card that I kind of think about a little bit is Stab. What I don't like about this deck is that a lot of our removal, our Final Vengeance and our Feed the Swarm are both sorcery speed cards and also Tragic Trajectory. So having 3 sorcery speed removal spells, not my favorite thing. Maybe even putting in I'm forgetting what it's called. Black Destroy, because I'm bad with names. To Shoot the Sheriff, that's the one. Maybe we could put in a Shoot the Sheriff over maybe a Tragic Trajectory. I like Tragic Trajectory, but it it's sorcery speed is really bad. We do get the Void on quite often and quite effectively in this deck with things like Corrupted Conviction, but still, it's a little bit weird. And even Timeline Color, although Timeline Color does kind of help with Void, it doesn't really help with Void because this goes at the end of turn. This is sorcery speed, so it's kind of not there. It's really just this. So I'm not really sold on Tragic Trajectory in the deck. I think Feed the Swarm, absolutely necessary, and I think Final Vengeance is also kind of necessary in the deck. We want to be destroying our cards, or well, we have the ability to get rid of our cards, and being able to exile an opponent's creature for 1 mana is very powerful. Getting rid of something like a Timeline Color just to remove one of their creatures is really powerful. Like, so let's say you have a Timeline Color in hand, you have your Final Vengeance, you can warp it out for 1 and then cast that. So for 2 mana and 2 life, you can exile any creature, and then you still have access to your Timeline Color in the graveyard. You can then cast it out if you have enough mana. In the end, I love where the deck's at. Dark Confidant feels really good. Cecil feels absolutely great. The Skeleton Core is really fun and really powerful. It's amazing how much damage Corpse of the Lost plus a couple of skeletons can start pumping out. Even though they're just 3 power creatures, they kind of run over a lot of opponents. So this is the deck. If you have any suggestions, most of you always have some suggestion for me. I really appreciate that. People come up with tons of card suggestions in the comments, so keep those rolling in. And yeah, that's the deck for today. Take care for now, and I suppose the next video, I'll see you on the ladder. Before I go, let's open a pack, because opening packs is always fun, and it's right here. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.